Welcome to this edition of Matière numérique, the computational presentation of photographies I've done in the month of September. So let's immediately start with three pictures. For the beginning of the month, those three pictures are in Geneva. I've mainly focused my photo activities in computational photography in testing my random preset generator. And those three pictures were taken with the Camare app. And yeah, on the left, still those nice end of days where you can have a good apéro. It's a good temperature. It's nice feelings in the streets. At any moment, I would, when I have some kind of open time or just a visual stimulation, I will try the app and the random preset generator. So here that's on my shoe. And on the right, that's in the Geneva shipyard on the right side of the lake in the Geneva Bay, where there's this old 19th century crane to pull up boats from the water. So yeah, I was quite satisfied with the random preset generator, but still needed to confront it to its extremes. On those three pictures, that's using the same random preset generator, but from the Camare experimental editor. So when you take a picture and you tap on it and have the preview, the full screen preview, then you have access to the editor. And that's the same picture using three random generated presets. So my apps work with those two image transformation buses. One is named insaturators and the other one filmulators. The first one works on the signal in the entry, and the second one works on giving more matter to the whole thing at the output. So, and that's the Jura Mountain, and I'm probably moving to Iceland on that day. And yeah, you see the real diversity. The possibilities are quite infinite theoretically. The way this preset generator works and how it uses my presets. So interesting to try to push it to its limits. On those three next pictures, same thing. It's basically the same photo engine in all my photo apps. They have slight differences, not the same generation, but on the left, that's the digital Paula random preset generator. That's the most recent engine in this app. And you can see what comes out of it. With also the QR code that lets you import and export. And the middle and right pictures, that's with Camare. That's also, I was testing a lot those import and export functions, because those engines are photo engines between the apps are not of the exactly same generations. They don't render the images really the same. It's the same algorithms, but so I've been testing that and still not fine-tuned enough. It's not very homogeneous. Here's three pictures, again using Camare and the random preset generator. The two pictures, center and left, that's in the Reykjavik Bay. Yeah, it's quite a different way of rendering the same scene. And the picture on the right, that's just another picture I took from the same place. You can really have some very different renderings using this random preset generator. I kind of got to the conclusion that it worked, so I'm probably not going to modify much in that sense for the future versions of those apps. And here, this I found interesting to show those two pictures, because on the left, that's basically, again, me trying to experiment with the random preset generator, and that's in the Reykjavik Marina near Grandi. And the right dual photo with my head and the coffee is actually, I found it funny, because sometimes I use my old apps, which I don't update anymore, but that's the app I did a few years back. Probably the first photo app I did, which did dual photography, which means it takes a picture on one side and the other side of the device at the same time. And I don't know, I wanted to try it. I think I sent a message to say I was drinking good coffee to a friend. But yeah, it's interesting to see even those old apps still work and still have, like old cameras, they have their own personality. You can actually do dual photos on my more modern apps, but the dual photo app was coded weirdly and it was really fast at a time where you couldn't really take synchronous photos. Well, yeah. Those three next photos, tests again using Camare on the photo on the left and the photo on the right, and probably digital Pola in the middle. I think at that time I added an option to save with no comments or code or barcode, and yeah, very diverse rendering of this random preset generator. The use of the QR codes, like you see in those three pictures, is interesting because when using the random, that's why I developed it originally, but it also serves to export your favorite presets or import them. It helps you just simply get the whole details of a random preset and export it to another app or to someone else. And here, that was the time I added the dark Cam app, which is one of the apps I do, had the flash function, but none of my other apps. So that's the moment where I integrated the flash feature on Digital Pola, Camare, and Vika. And the flash version, I was testing the function, and the picture on the right, it's the version with the flash. The picture on the left, that's obviously the one without flash. And in the middle, because you have the option on those phones, that's with the flashlight. So it's not as strong, it's a continuous light, and you have those two options now on the other apps. That was also in Reykjavik, drinking a coffee. Again, a few random renderings during my trips. It's a good moment to test things. Probably coming back from Iceland and on the right leaving towards London, I guess. Not sure, but doesn't matter actually. But again, those are really different rendering presets. And here again, in the plane, black and white texture. Picture on the left and on the right, that's Camare. In the middle, that's Digital Pola. Again, that's the occasion. This month I've, on the other presentation, if you've seen it, talking about more traditional photography, I talk about the importance of sitting at the right place, being at the right place when you travel, either by bus, train, or plane, or boat, whatever. It's important to know where you're going and what time of the day, what lighting conditions, and where you're going, obviously. And the picture on the right, that's a good example, in my opinion. I knew I was getting into London and London City Airport, and it just goes over the city center, and I had a chance by sitting where I was and choosing that seat to see this big building, which is named the Shard. And it was early morning, so I had a chance maybe to get some sun reflection, direct reflection in it. And that's exactly what happened. Didn't expect it, actually. I expected it, but I didn't think it would happen. But you have to create opportunities. I'm not sure the photo is really interesting, but it's a good illustration of trying to prepare yourself for being at the right place at the right moment. Again, 3 pictures, randomly experimenting with my apps, testing the random generator in London, and I'm actually at that moment developing a new insaturator, but it's not good enough yet to practice it in the real world, but I'm thinking about it. And here are the 2 pictures, middle and right, that's Camare, and the left, it's probably dark cam with no text. Not sure about that. Again, I was also trying exportation, importation of presets, and so lots of things going on. And here, finally, those 3 pictures, that's the new insaturator I've been thinking about. It's named Ondo, and at the time it was just an embryo of an idea of how to treat the image. So it's pretty bad on the left, but I'm kind of getting the textures I was thinking about, but thinking of, but definitely not satisfied. And on the middle and right, that's experimenting with the experimental editor, but it doesn't work as I expected. So back to the drawing board, and in the meantime, I'll continue testing my random preset generator. And we were in a pub. Again, I'm still in London. And yeah, interesting textures, a very different mood. The picture on the left, that's the normal picture, and the other 2 are the filter, the presets applied to it. On the left, that's a picture with this new insaturator named Ondo, which I'm not satisfied with, but I put this picture there because that's a Banksy under the Barbican Center, and this Banksy I discovered, just for the anecdote, I discovered a few years back. It was not yet covered, so it had probably been painted just before I came in. I was visiting with an architect friend that was showing me the Barbican, and we're underneath the Barbican and not protected yet, and so maybe it was painted just before us, just the day before or the night before. But there were already a security team looking at it, so we couldn't really go see if the paint was new or not, well, dry or not. But definitely not protected. It was that day or the day before it was painted. Interesting discovery. And back to testing my usual random preset generator for that month in a gastropub. London is a great place to eat and to drink and to experiment life. And yeah, 2 pictures taken. The 3 pictures are actually taken with Camare. And then going back, every time I test my app and my algorithms, when I have a chance, I just modify what I think will be helping out. And so here are 3 examples. The image coming out of the sensor on the left, and me trying to obviously filter out a color in the middle, and then trying to do something with it. It's not exactly what's going on behind, but it's just a good example of what I'm trying to create and resolve. And yeah, it's a long process. And here's those 3 next pictures. That's still this to be Ondo filter, testing it in the streets. I'm slowly trying to understand what my algorithm does, because often it's really more of the craftsmanship is not that precise, at least with me. And I'm starting to like certain things, certain parts of the picture, but it doesn't work for something to be integrated in an app like one of the ones I distribute. So I do get some interesting results, but that's not what the insaturator is going to be. It has to be controllable. It has to be quite solid in the way it responds for me to be happy. And here again, those 3 last pictures for this month's computational photography presentation. The picture on the left, on the coffee, there's something starting to appear. Same thing with the background. The Ondo filter is starting to do something. And the picture in the middle and on the right, that's actually me testing it on some pieces of my bookmaking. That was I was testing on the trash parts of that's the cover of one of my books, which is named Booty Machine, which is a book about the 2007 experiments in photography, which was the original project from which the photos which are in the book comes from, was kind of a proof of concept of online camera, phone, photo apps, and social platform. Basically a proof of concept that leads to smartphone lomography. 2007 was the year the iPhone was introduced, but the project here was on a Sony camera phone because it was developed in 2006, and the photos started coming out and being published online in 2007. So, but yeah, anyhow, the Ondo insaturator is starting to get somewhere, in my opinion, and you'll have to wait for next month to see where that goes. And hopefully you found that interesting or entertaining, and don't hesitate to ask questions or post comments, and see you next time.